The field burned blue with alien energy. Sparks of static crawled across the grass, dancing around the humans like ghosts. Sheriff Bill ducked behind Ernie's rusty Ford, gripping his revolver tight. He'd seen tornadoes, wildfires, and once a coyote on meth, but nothing like this. The aliens advanced in perfect formation, 6 of them now, moving like a single mind. Their weapons glowed, humming like angry hornets. One raised its blaster toward the pickup truck. "Move!" Bill yelled. The explosion lifted the truck clean off its tires, flipping it into the cornfield. Ernie dove flat on his belly, his shotgun skidding away. Dirt rained down, hot and sizzling from the blast. "Holy mother of—" Ernie started coughing. Bill hauled him up by the collar. "You still got shells?" "Do I look like a man who runs out of shells?" Ernie barked back, wiping soot off his beard. Across the field, headlights sliced through the smoke. A second pickup charging full speed, its engine roaring. Behind the wheel was Debbie Miller, wearing a bathrobe, curlers, and a cigarette hanging from her lip. "Get out of my soybeans!" she hollered as she slammed into one of the aliens. The creature went flying 30 feet, hitting the ground with a metallic crack. The rest of the aliens turned, confused. None of their invasion briefings mentioned middle-aged women with trucks as primary threats. Debbie swung the door open and stepped out holding a garden rake like a weapon. "You mess with my farm, you mess with me!" Bill blinked. "Debbie, get back!" She charged instead, screaming like a banshee. The alien fired. The energy blast missed by inches, slicing through her mailbox. Debbie swung the rake, caught the creature across the helmet, and it stumbled. The rest of the townsfolk erupted, some in cheers, some in panic, but all in it now. Bill and Ernie opened fire again, while Old Man Tanner threw a Molotov cocktail made from moonshine and a rag. The explosion rocked the field, lighting up the aliens in blue fire. For a brief moment, it wasn't chaos, it was victory. The aliens faltered, their formation breaking. One tried to retreat toward the ship, but Tanner, still in his bathrobe, hit him with a lawn chair. "Not in my backyard, space freak!" The ship above them whirred louder, the hum building to a painful pitch. A light expanded beneath it, a weapon, Bill realized, something big. He yelled over the roar, "Everyone, get down!" The ground split open as a beam shot from the ship, vaporizing half the cornfield. The shockwave threw everyone backward. Bill hit the dirt, ears ringing, breath gone. When the dust cleared, the aliens were regrouping, but slower now, damaged. Debbie's truck was smoking, Tanner was unconscious, and Ernie's hat had caught fire. Bill pulled himself up, chest heaving. "They want a war?" Ernie spat, smothering his burning hat. "Then they just found one." Bill nodded, eyes fixed on the ship. "Round up whoever's left. We're taking the fight to 'em." The sky above Dry Creek glowed with alien light, but the people of the town were already rising from the dirt, battered, furious, and ready. The invasion had begun, and humanity had just fired back.
By sunrise, Dry Creek looked like the set of a disaster movie. Smoke curled from the Miller farm, power lines dangled across Main Street, and half the town's chickens had gone missing. Either vaporized or abducted, no one was sure. Sheriff Bill Carter stood in front of the diner, now serving as command post. Inside, the smell of burned coffee and gun oil filled the air. A hand-painted sign on the door read, "Closed for invasion. Back soon." Around the diner's counter sat the newly formed Dry Creek militia. Ernie, still soot-streaked but grinning. Debbie Miller with her rake, now wrapped in duct tape. Old Man Tanner with a bandaged head and a flask of tactical moonshine. And the 3 teens who were live-streaming everything to what was now 2 million viewers. Bill paced in front of them, hat in hand. "We're up against something smarter, faster, and meaner than anything we've ever seen, but they made one mistake. They landed here." Ernie slammed a box of shotgun shells on the counter. "Amen." "Do we even know what they want?" asked Jenny, the youngest of the teens, still shaking. Bill nodded toward the ship still hovering on the horizon, its massive shadow cutting across the cornfields. "They said they're here to cleanse us. Guess they don't like neighbors." Debbie snorted. "Then we're the worst HOA they'll ever deal with." The group broke into grim laughter. Bill laid out a map of town on the table. "We hit 'em where it hurts. Power station first. They've been using it to recharge their weapons. Ernie, you and Tanner rig explosives. Debbie, you and I draw their attention." Ernie grinned. "You got dynamite?" Tanner lifted his moonshine jug. "Better." Outside, the sky flickered again, another wave of drones descending. Dozens of smaller ships, black as oil, spreading over the cornfields like locusts. Jenny's phone buzzed with a notification. "Sheriff, people online are calling us heroes. They're saying Dry Creek is trending worldwide." Bill looked up at her, face streaked with ash. "Then let's give the world a show." The militia scattered, loading guns, grabbing tools, gearing up like warriors from another era. Debbie strapped on her gardening gloves. Ernie filled his pickup bed with propane tanks. Tanner cackled like a mad scientist as he poured moonshine into bottles. When the first drone reached town, the locals were ready. Ernie floored the gas, barreling toward the power station. The truck hit a drone mid-air, sending it spinning into a billboard that read, "Welcome to Dry Creek, population tougher than you think." Debbie swung her rake like a halberd, knocking another one into the street. Sparks flew as it exploded against the pavement. Bill fired his revolver, then grabbed a fallen alien rifle and tested the trigger. The weapon pulsed, humming in his hands. "All right, let's see how you like it." Blue fire streaked through the morning air, cutting a drone clean in half. The locals roared. For the first time since the invasion began, they weren't running, they were winning. And high above, inside the alien command ship, a commander turned to its second-in-command and hissed, "These humans do not follow logic." The other replied coldly, "Then perhaps it is logic that must adapt." But down below, in a smoking diner-turned-war room, Bill Carter cocked his weapon and said the words that would wake history. "Dry Creek doesn't surrender." By the second night, the aliens weren't the hunters anymore. They were pinned down. Sheriff Bill Carter crouched behind the smoking remains of an alien drone, using its curved armor as cover. The weapon he'd stolen, now nicknamed Betty, fit his hands like it had been waiting for a man who knew how to fight dirty. Ernie's truck came roaring over the ridge again, headlights blazing, propane tanks clattering in the back. He grinned through the cracked windshield and shouted, "Fire in the hole," before bailing out. The truck slammed straight into the alien outpost at the edge of the cornfield. The explosion turned night into day. Bill shielded his eyes as the shockwave hit. "Ernie, you crazy son of a—" "Still alive?" Ernie's voice came from somewhere behind a smoking hay bale. "Barely." The aliens responded fast, dropping pods from the mothership, deploying more of their tall silver soldiers. But this time, Dry Creek was ready. Debbie's crew had turned the water tower into a sniper nest, loaded with stolen plasma rifles. Every time an alien stepped into the open, it got lit up by blue streaks of fire. The teens, stationed on rooftops, used drones from the hardware store to drop Molotovs onto alien patrols. Down on Main Street, Tanner and his moonshine-fueled traps turned the place into a glowing maze of fire. Each explosion echoed like thunder across the fields. Bill pushed forward, leading the charge through the chaos. The stolen alien rifle roared, punching holes in their ranks. He moved with the precision of a man who'd worked too many midnight shifts and seen too many bad things to be scared of one more. One of the aliens, larger than the rest, covered in jagged plating, stepped out from the fire. Its voice was a rumble, almost human. "You persist beyond logic. What drives you?" Bill smirked, wiping soot from his face. "Coffee, stubbornness, and a real bad mood." He fired. The blast caught the alien in the chest, sending it sprawling into a burning corn silo. From the diner's roof, Jenny yelled down, "Sheriff, the ship! It's charging again!" Bill looked up.
The mothership's underbelly was glowing, building energy for another cleansing beam. "We gotta hit it before it fires," he shouted. Debbie called from the water tower. "How the hell do we shoot something that big?" Bill looked toward the Miller grain silo, taller than anything in town. "We don't shoot it, we hit it." Within minutes, Ernie and Tanner had a new plan, half genius, half suicide. They loaded what was left of Tanner's moonshine and 2 propane tanks into a harvester, wired it to remote ignition, and pointed it at the alien ship's power core. As the machine rumbled to life, Bill saluted it like a soldier. For Dry Creek. The harvester plowed through the field, flames in its wake, and slammed into the ship's energy conduit. The explosion tore across the sky, lighting it brighter than noon. Everyone hit the ground. The blast rocked the town. Then silence. The mothership flickered. Its engine sputtered. It was hurt. Bill pushed himself up, grinning through the dust. He said, "Told you, they picked the wrong damn town."
The explosion from the harvester lit the sky like sunrise. The alien mothership sagged, one side molten and dripping. Sparks rained down over Dry Creek, turning the cornfields into rivers of fire. But the fight wasn't over. Sheriff Bill Carter stood in the middle of Main Street, boots crunching glass, as the last surviving alien squad descended. 24 of them, silver armor cracked, but weapons still burning hot. Their leader stepped forward, armor glowing faintly red from damage. "You cannot win," it rasped. "Your resistance is illogical." Bill cocked his revolver, his old Earth-made sidearm, scuffed and dented but still kicking. "Logic don't grow corn or fix trucks, and it sure as hell doesn't stop a Dry Creek man from defending his home." Behind him, the remaining townsfolk, Ernie, Debbie, Tanner, Jenny, and maybe 50 more, lined up across the street. Shotguns, pipes, garden tools, scavenged alien guns, even baseball bats. Every face was dirty, scared, and determined. Bill raised his hand. "We hold here." The aliens opened fire. Blue light sliced the air. The locals ducked, rolled, and fired back. Ernie's shotgun barked again and again, the recoil nearly knocking him over. Debbie's rake glowed white-hot from the heat of deflecting plasma bolts. Jenny's live-stream camera shook as she filmed from behind a fallen mailbox. "They're still coming!" she shouted. Tanner threw his last Molotov. "Then so are we!" The bottle exploded midair, catching 2 aliens in flames. They screamed in a metallic wail that sounded almost alive. Bill charged forward, firing Betty, the alien rifle he'd claimed. Every blast drove the enemy back, but there were too many. The aliens fanned out, advancing steadily through the smoke. Debbie stumbled beside him, burned but grinning. "Bill, I'm out of rake." He said, "Then use your truck." She grinned wider. "Thought you'd never ask." Moments later, her battered pickup came roaring down Main Street again, front bumper held together with duct tape and faith. She slammed it straight into the alien line. Metal screamed against metal. The aliens scattered. One of them leaped onto the hood, claws ripping through the windshield, until Bill shot it point blank. The battle turned into a blur of light and chaos. Then a low rumble filled the sky. The mothership was descending, wounded but angry, dragging half the clouds with it. Ernie shouted over the roar, "What now, Sheriff?" Bill squinted up. "Now, we end it." He pointed Betty at the sky, adjusting its strange alien settings until it whined with unstable power. "Jenny, when I shoot this, run." "Wait, what? Go!" He fired. The beam tore through the ship's damaged core. For a second, the world went silent. Then the sky split open. The mothership erupted in a pillar of blue fire that reached the clouds. The shockwave flattened half of Dry Creek, but when the dust settled, the aliens were gone. Bill stood in the center of the street, leaning on his revolver, breath ragged. Debbie limped over, hair singed, face smeared with soot. "You did it," she said. He looked around at the broken town, the people still standing, the the smoke curling up to a peaceful dawn. We did it. Ernie stumbled out of the rubble, holding a scorched beer. Think they'll come back? Bill smirked. If they're smart, they won't. Jenny turned her camera toward the horizon, the wreck of the alien ship glowing like a second sunrise. Her voice trembled as she said into the mic, Dry Creek, population 1,000, just saved the world. And somewhere in the ashes, a battered sign still stood crooked by the roadside. Welcome to Dry Creek. Population tougher than you think.